Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my garden on a little bit of a grey overcast day, and we already had rain, but I'm not going to complain because it is so good for nature because we had no rainfall, I think, the past month or so, just a little drizzle. But you can also tell this is where all the wood for the fireplace is still. I quickly ran out in the morning, still in my PJs, I just quickly covered it because I was like, oh no, now it starts to rain and I have the fresh wood lying there. And obviously it's no good if it's like soaking wet, even though we store it there and it needs at least like a year and a half before you can put it in the fireplace. But when it's like really exposed to full on rain now, then it needs to dry probably for 3 years, and this is not what can happen. But the rain is a good thing because, I mean, you know how the garden looks. A lot of the things are coming to life, but I really think things would kick in faster now with a little bit of moisture or more moisture in the ground because the temperatures are nice. It really starts to warm up a little bit. It's mild. It's a little muggy even today, but I don't mind. It's kind of nice and cozy out here. And you see, I'm kind of finding my way to the back of a garden. And this is exactly where I want to work today with you. I have two very cute projects going to happen on the right side of this slope. So I'm going to take you with me onto the vegetable garden again. First project is going to happen here in my second raised bed that I have prepared. So you know the first raised bed, this is where I grow all of my salad crops and the cilantro, and then I have some plants just standing there and they will go straight into that raised bed. So I'm really excited to share with you what I'm going to plant in there. And then the second project that I want to do is going to happen here on the last terrace of the slope. You only see like a strip of brown mulch. And I want to do some direct sowing. So today I want to start my pumpkin vines. I have 4 different varieties, very exciting. Normally I only grow Hokkaido, and I have 3 other varieties this year. But with the pumpkin vines, I'm going to do 2 different ways. I'm going to do some direct sowing here, but you can tell that we're surrounded by all this beautiful landscape, but this landscape comes with a lot of slugs and snails, and they love to munch on fresh seedlings, and especially like cucumbers, pumpkin vines, all of those things. So what I'm going to do is I will also do some sowing in modules and just store them somewhere aside where I can have a closer eye on them, so that just in case, if the slugs and snails are going to come in there and just eat all of my seedlings in one go, I have backup. And if it doesn't happen, then I have more plants and I need to find a nice location where I can grow them. So I hope you're excited and you're going to join the day with me in the vegetable garden. Look what I did last night. It was so nice and warm and sunny here on this slope, and I showed you in one of my previous videos my amaranth when it was still in a seed tray, and yesterday I started to separate them. So I always have like 2-3 plants in these containers, sometimes just one depending on the size of them. And I did it exactly the same way last year, and I was very successful with that. So this is a variety called autumnal palette or autumn palette. The label's a little far away, I can't really read it from here, but they are in all different kind of like burnt orange and beautiful autumn colors. I can't wait for it. Never grew it before. I need to have a close eye on slugs and snails though, because when I water it and they are sitting here on the mold, sometimes slugs and snails are hiding underneath there, but so far so good. So fingers crossed that this is off for a flying start. But what I want to do is focus on this area here. So this is the second raised bed. I've prepared it already a little bit. I filled it with very fresh, good soil. And I share with you in one of my previous videos how to fill a raised bed properly. So if I remember, I'm going to link that video down below here. I'm still going to enrich the soil a little bit. And out of my 3 raised beds, this is the one that receives most of the sun throughout the entire day, just the way on how it is placed here on the slope. And this is why I'm going to put my sun lovers right into this bed. And here they are. This is a beautiful tray of bell peppers and chilies, and I have 3 different varieties of bell peppers and 2 of chilies. So here are 2 rows of sweet chocolate, a brown bell pepper, never grew it before, and the germination rate in general is quite alright. The plants are looking cute, a little bit small, not the sturdiest, so I'm really excited what to expect. The next one is called Cucino Orange, and the germination rate was also alright, I would say, but the plants are looking a little better and stronger already. The next one are 2 rows here. They were just labeled as bell pepper red, so no name specification. They were the best. Every single seed came up and the plants are looking fantastic. I mean, just look at them, like really true leaves. And now with the temperatures warming up, I'm really expecting that they're going to put up a lot of growth. Here I have 2 varieties of chili. So the first one is called Fuego, and I always put 2 seeds in a module, and they all came up, which was really surprising for me. So they are looking actually the best out of all of those plants. And then the next one, that is a purple chili. Here, just one row, and I think the first plant here is not going to be a purple one because the leaves are looking very, very green, while the other leaves, you can already tell, have a little bit of a variegation going on, and they indicate that the chilies will be in a different color. But if I have just 3-4 plants, this is more than enough for me. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to prepare and plant the chilies and the bell peppers in the raised bed here. I already told you before when I filled the first raised bed, and I'm just going to do it quickly again. Whenever you fill a raised bed, do yourself a favor and spend some money on good soil to fill it, because the better soil is just loftier, nicer, full of nutrition, so your plants will be so thankful. But still, I'm going to enrich the soil a little bit. And what I do, I always do the same, but here again, I come in with my organic bone chips. They are dry and they're very easy to work in, so you could just take a handful and just sprinkle it over here, and then I'll just come in with my hands and just gently dig it under. And what they do is they will break down to nitrogen, and they will encourage your plants to produce more and better roots. The second thing that I'm going to do after I've planted all of my plants is that I will water them, and then I will also fertilize them with a liquid fertilizer. This is something that I will do probably, I need to have an eye on it. I think once a month, maybe every 2 weeks, really depending on how the plants are looking. And when it comes to the liquid fertilizer, I'm really going to follow what my grandma always did. So no matter what she was growing in her vegetable garden, she always used tomato liquid fertilizer, because that is working wonders. And she always had really amazing looking fruit and vegetable in her garden. So I'm just going to do the same. Again, this is an organic one. I already filled it in my water can, and it smells kind of good. I can't really tell you what it is exactly, but whenever I fill it into the water, I'm kind of, oh, it kind of smells yummy. And I read through what is in there. I can't tell. They don't really say it, but so far I was watering some of my plants and my young plants with that, and they all seem to appreciate it really a lot. So just a secret trick from Grandma that you might want to apply to your own garden. I have prepared the entire soil here and dug the bone chips all under, so this is really lovely, nice and lofty. So what I'm going to do now is look at my lovely plants here, and luckily I still have my label, so they can go straight into the beginning of each planting row. And even I haven't lifted or checked how they are looking. And this year, you know that I was using these pots out of natural material, so the roots are literally growing through here, and I don't need to take them out of these pots. I could just plant them exactly as they are, and this is what I am going to do. And I'm going to plant them, normally I would say dead level, but they are a little bit stringy, so I think I'm going to bury that just down here. I don't think that they will root in, but I think it will be good because they will be anchored a little better. I've done just the same with my amaranth last year, and it worked wonders. Honestly, my seedlings of amaranth last year looked terrifying, so I think this is going to be very good. So all that I'm going to do now is literally, since this is so soft and lofty, nothing is easier than that, just come in, dig a little bit of a hole, and then just gently push the soil around from all sides, firm it in nicely. And when I water it, obviously the water is also just like gonna push everything down again. And then I just buried it a little bit, and I think that they'll be very happy. So excited to see how all of this is going to continue. And one last thing is I used raised beds in black, as you can tell here. And the reason for it is that the black holds the heat better. And so far, I think that was a really good idea. I managed to get all of my plants into this one raised bed, so later on in the year, hopefully I'm going to have an entire raised bed full of chilies and bell peppers. I'm so excited about this. And I roughly spaced them out like 15 to maybe 17 centimeters in total, which is 6 to 7 inches. And the reason for it is I chose varieties that stay on a smaller size. So when you do order your plants and your seeds, you can always check how tall are they going to grow. And I knew that I want to plant them into raised beds, so obviously I went with the smaller varieties. Just two more last things about the bell peppers and the chilies before I'm going to take you down to the slope and we continue with sowing the pumpkin vines, is that if you are growing peppers or chilies from seeds, there's one thing you might need to know, is that they do not appreciate when the root system gets disturbed. That can really affect their growing, and this is why I decided to go with the bigger natural fiber plugs, because I could just keep them in there for the entire time, and now I could just put them into the soil so the roots can really really grow outwards, and I think this is going to do the trick. Fingers crossed, I'm going to keep you posted, obviously. And the second thing is, if you're gardening on a balcony, for example, and you still want to grow some sort of fruit or vegetable, I think that bell peppers and chili are just the right thing for you because they do stay quite compact. They do look actually really nice. They have really beautiful foliage, and then they have like cute, I mean not amazing, but cute little white blooms. But when the fruit comes, you have like red or purple or orange fruit on your balcony, and I think this looks so nice in any kind of summery container. So no reason why not growing any kind of bell peppers or chilies in your garden. But enough of that, now we're going to go down and continue some sowing. This is the last layer of the slope, so the third terrace, and this is where I'm going to grow my pumpkin vines. So the midsection, this is where I was just planting some fennel and corn with you, and on the top layer there are my 3 raised beds. And I think this is a really good, decent sized area for any kind of wine crops. And I mulched it because I'm only going to have a few plants, and this is going to be easier with the weed control, obviously. So what kind of pumpkins am I going to grow? These are the seed packages. So the first one, Muscat de Provence. This is a very classic variety. One of those like Cinderella coach pumpkins. I'm so excited about that. I never grew it before. It tastes very nice. I bought it once in a supermarket, loved it for its taste, but even if I can't eat all of them, they're also amazing for decorating. The next one of my favorite, and I'm going to grow less than last year, this Hokkaido. Hokkaido is just perfect because you could just utilize the entire pumpkin as it is. You can even eat the rind, so definitely one of my all-time favorites. Next one, the name is on the back of the seed pack, Baby Boo. This is a white variety. It's edible as well, but I think I'm going to use it mainly for decorating purposes. Then I have Blue Doll. I think this is, if I remember right, also one that looks a little bit like those Cinderella pumpkins. It's bluish, grayish, and I mainly bought it because I thought, oh, for decorating that might be nice. And last thing, those are my courgettes or zucchini. Zucchini Genovese, so they are those graffiti kind of zucchinis. Very excited. And zucchini are one of those plants. If you have 2 plants, this is more than enough because at one point you can eat yourself out of existence with all the fruit that one single plant can produce. Next to growing potatoes, planting pumpkins or sowing pumpkins, what we do today is really one of my favorite jobs in the vegetable garden because they are so easy. Once the plant has established and slugs and snails are not so much of a threat anymore, they are dang easy. You don't need to do anything about them. I mean, here I don't need to water them too much because normally we always have a certain amount of moisture. And I just checked the area here. When I removed the mulch, there is a little bit of powder on the surface, but then if you just start digging, the soil still has a little bit of moisture in it, even after a month, and I haven't watered anything here. So I know that this is a perfect area to grow my pumpkin. So all I do is I removed a little bit of mulch and I kind of roughly measured. I'm going to plant them apart 1.5 meters roughly, which is in theory not enough because most of those, they grow to massive huge plants and beets, and I can tell you when late autumn comes, all of those pumpkin vines, they're really going to just tumble down all the way probably to the farmland, but I don't mind. This is also why I really prepared this entire area in the back there, and I just have easy access and I'm going to have lovely pumpkins. So this is the mission for this year, different kind of pumpkins, not only Hokkaido, what I had last year. So what I do first is I just start lofting up the native soil a little bit, and you can tell just by the color. It is literally grayish in a way. It is not, I mean, things grow in here, you know. It's not that this is like a very poor soil, but it is just a very well-drained and sandy soil in general. So all I do is I come in with probably 2-3 good shovels of fresh garden soil just on top here. I'm gonna make it like 3. Like that, and then just a good handful of my organic bone chips as a starting fertilizer like that. A little more is always good. Then I just dig it all under so that I have really nice prepared soil in the area where I'm going to put the seeds in, so at least when they start rooting in, that the soil is really nice and well prepared for them. So this is all I'm going to do, maybe a little bit more good soil. Looking at the color here, I go, whoa, this is still kind of grayish. Needs to be really nicer. I kind of developed a good feeling over the years on what color the soil here should have in order to have really good germination and make plants happy. So this looks good. There's something in here that shouldn't be here, moss, whatever, that goes there. All right, so I'm gonna go with Baby Boo because my idea is to have the smaller varieties here in the front, and then the more I go to the back, the bigger plants will grow there. And I ordered varieties or like seeds where I'm only going to have like a couple of seeds in a pack. I'm not going to have like, I'm not going to have like 50 or so in here, because at one point, you know, there's only so much pumpkins that you can grow anyways, and then maybe next year I want to try something else and I throw them away and I want to be resourceful. So I'm like, no, I don't. I'd rather buy those where I have a little less seeds. So the way on how I do this is I always put 2 seeds, this is how they look, in a planting hole. When I continue planting, obviously I'm going to give you a closer look at it again. So I'm going to put one here and one here, so roughly like 10 centimeters apart from another. Then I'm just going to push them down, and the way on how I do it is I just put them flat into the ground, and then I just push them down. So there's no doubt on what is the top and what is the bottom. I push them down probably like a centimeter or so, and that is all there is. And then the mulch, I'm just going to push it back a little bit, but not too much, so that I still exactly know where the pumpkins are coming, because in this area there are quite some weeds coming up already, and I already did a first round of weeding, but I need to do more. So not by accident that unfortunately I'm gonna think I'm gonna pull some weeds and then my pumpkins suddenly go away. I just leave it as it is to exactly know where my pumpkin's coming up. And then I have my container, and what I do in here as well, just the same thing basically. Put a label in here. I just take the seed and I just put 1 seed in each corner actually. So like this, there's 1 seed in this corner, 1 seed in that corner, and then I just push it down like that, and this is all there is. And I'm going to take these with me to another location, water them in, and I think I'll be very happy. What I'm going to do now is really quickly continue with my sowing, because I just checked the rain radar, and I think I have half an hour and then the skies are about to open. We're finally going to have probably an hour or 2 of rain. I'm really fingers crossed for good rain and not just for one of those drizzles, because that doesn't really do anything. So I'm going to continue with my sowing. I'm so happy about that, so let's go. It's a new day, and actually I finished yesterday, and editing the film I was like, ooh, there is no audio on the outro, so that is no good obviously. And on top of it, I remembered I gave some good valid information. So last night I sat on my couch like, what was that? What did I actually tell you? But it came back to me. It is, why do I always put 2 seeds in a planting hole, or at least like next to another? And the reason is, if you only put 1 seed there and it doesn't germinate, you have nothing. But if you have 2 in there, one of them is definitely gonna come up, which is always great. And if both of them gonna come to germination, then you can make a decision and see which plant looks better and then just pull the other one. So you always have a guarantee that there's something coming up. This is how you do it with any kind of plant that grows to a bigger size. Like corn, if you would do some direct sowing, you would do it like that. Courgettes, pumpkins, all those things basically. Cucumbers, I'm just thinking what else is there. Like carrots, for example, you would just really just sow in a row and then just kind of make a decision and thin it later onwards. Last night we had a lot of rain, and then instantly everything looks nice and lush, especially the lawn suddenly looks kind of like lawn again and not so crispy, which is really lovely. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed it, and obviously I would love to welcome you in my garden very soon again. Take care guys, bye.